We're in Iceland for the summer, but take it from me, you still need a sweater in this weather. It's known as one of the happiest places on earth, but this country also has one of the highest rates of antidepressant use in the world. And despite the bitter cold, locals here love to hit the water. I wonder what swimmers think of Iceland's preference for prescription pills. So Maria, it's a very simple question. Why are antidepressants so popular in Iceland?
Because it's cheaper to buy antidepressant.
Here in Iceland we take antidepressants because it's a quick fix. It's easy to get it prescribed from a doctor and everybody's on it.
I think it's good for treating symptoms and making people feel better and function better, but it doesn't really tackle the core issues or reasons behind depression.
Is it a bad thing? I don't think so. I trust the doctors to prescribe what's needed, and I don't think they will be overdoing it.
We are the happiest country in the world, so the meds must be working, right?
Our journey begins on the northern coast of rural Iceland. I'm here to find out just why so many people across this Nordic nation are taking antidepressants. This is Mindset. During the Icelandic summer, the sun sets at 11 p.m, then rises again just 4 hours later. At this time of year, the sprawling beauty appears as endless as the long days. But for residents of the far northern hemisphere, winters are a different affair.
It's dark most of the day, and that really gets to people. It can be really hard on your mental health. Easy fix, take a pill.
Birna Osp Throttadóttir was just 14 when she took her first pill for anxiety and depression. In Iceland, prescription drug use amongst young girls has risen by around 90% over the past decade.
I've been using them for 10 years. They've changed me a lot. It kind of changed me from being just a little anxious and depressed girl into someone who can regulate their emotions. I first started going to a therapist when I was little, like, I don't know, 8, 9, due to bullying in school. I tried like meditation as well, just nothing seemed to do the trick. I was getting anxiety attacks every day before school. For me, it was basically I didn't fit in. I was a quiet kid, and I also have Tourette syndromes, so I got bullied a lot.
Birna says she spiraled further after she was sexually assaulted at a scout camp.
It was a turning point that made my depression and anxiety a lot worse. And it just got worse over the years because I didn't talk about it. So eventually I just broke down. I was staying at my grandma's, and every day driving to work, I hated. And I got so low, it was so easy to just turn the wheel slightly more to the side than usual and just straight into the ocean. It was getting very, very, just an easy ending.
While that trauma stays with her today, Birna says the antidepressants have helped her cope. Can you imagine life without them?
Nope. I went like a week or something without taking them, and the withdrawal symptoms were bad. I was just endless crying. I was so dizzy and hot and cold. It was horrifying. So I don't really want to go off them if I don't have to.
How does that sit with you personally?
A coping tool is a coping tool. I would definitely not be in the same place I am right now.
Salute! Ready, set, fence!
Birna's fiance is a pillar of support, but they clash often, with swords. The couple practice historical fencing, a sport fit for a Viking. Birna says it helps her lead an active and happy life. What drew you to it? Like, why do you like combat sports like this?
You can stay on just antidepressants, but you're not living your life to the fullest. You need an outlet. Like, that's fencing for me. It makes me happy, it makes me feel strong. It just makes me, enjoy life.
Það er bara frítsaðarhátti næsta helgi.
Oh, nice.
Ég reyna að fara mömmu til að koma með.
Rural communities are among the highest users of antidepressants in Iceland.
Me and my sister, we both take it, and some of my friends take it as well. So it's definitely a pretty common thing.
In rural Iceland, are there alternatives to antidepressants?
Not really. There's not a good access to therapists. It's very difficult to get an appointment. It can be super expensive and just a pain.
Berna says the difficulties young people face expressing their emotions adds to their mental health challenges.
I feel so bad and angry for these kids. They keep bottling things inside because they don't want to talk about it. And that makes me angry because this is a learned behavior. They don't see their parents talk about their feelings.
So stoicism is a real barrier if you do have a mental health issue?
Yeah, it can be, especially with the older generation.
Listening to Berna's story, she's definitely strong and she's definitely a survivor. But is she using antidepressants as a sort of stopgap to deal with trauma, to navigate problems? Maybe. But if the system is expensive, understaffed, who am I to judge? In Iceland, a box of antidepressants is 7 times cheaper than an hour with a psychologist. It's why prescription pills are seen as a quick, easy treatment in a country whose mental health system is plagued by staff shortages and long waiting times.
It's broken. It needs money, it needs resources. I feel like in the system you're just a number on a paper and they just want to get rid of you.
Nina Kalkla-Kalklastorta's punk group is trying to strike a chord in a country famous for Björk and a sea of alternative musicians. Today, Nina is rehearsing a song about being trapped in a violent relationship. It's just one of the many traumas she's experienced.
I started getting antidepressants when I was 15 or 16, and it was just like the way it was presented to me was you have depression and anxiety, and here's a pill that will solve all your problems. When I was 17, I attempted suicide, and after 2 days at the hospital, they just gave me a new prescription for antidepressants and sent me on my way.
Then came postnatal depression, emotional burnout, and the abusive relationship. Therapy didn't help, and after multiple suicide attempts, Nina was admitted to a psychiatric unit.
I just remember thinking, I'm gonna feel like this forever, and there's nothing I can do about it. That I had to be depressed and or take pills for the rest of my life. It wasn't good.
Nina's stopped taking antidepressants for now, but she's not against using pills again if a crisis occurs.
I hope that I never have to use them again. But if and when I will.
And that's okay, right?
Yeah, that's okay. They can help me. And I just don't take them and then just go lay in bed and wait like I did before. I did the work. Now I'm not on pills, but I did the work to get there, to be able to quit the drugs.
By work, Nina's referring to the program she's done here at Hugaraf. It's the largest peer-run organisation providing mental health services in the country. Offering support and activities that enable people to design their own path to recovery, Hugaraf turned Nina's life around. Today, she volunteers here. How does Hugaraf get it right, where perhaps the traditional mental health system does not?
there's no time limit, and you're in charge of your own recovery. Like when I was quitting my medication, I was getting like helpful tips and stuff. And when I started them again, I told them about it. And they were like, okay, great for you. Like each individual does what they like, what works for them.
I look around and I see people just doing their own thing. It's not like you're in a centre and sitting in a room and being spoken to. People are working on their own projects, working on themselves.
Yeah, it's not the staff place to tell people what to do here.
Greta Bjornsson works as a guidance counsellor here. He says Hjúkrafl's community-oriented approach is considered radical in Iceland.
What Hjúkrafl does is we are open house. We welcome people in and we offer them many things. You can play music, you can do arts and crafts, you can do yoga, you can come here for a cup of coffee, chit-chat, or you can go into quite more serious meetings and talk about your experience, your trauma, your feelings. Here, you can just be yourself.
He says the notion that Iceland is one of the happiest countries in the world is an illusion. Rather, it's a society that needs to encourage people to embrace their emotions.
We have medicalized our emotional life too much. We are really quick when we're having a crisis to think, oh, I need to go to the doctor, and when you go to a doctor, you're going to get prescribed medicine, especially antidepressant and anti-anxiety. And I'm worried people go there too quickly and don't ask themselves the serious question, like, why am I feeling this? Can I get through this? What can I do?
So how do you want the system to change? Like what would be a good outcome?
We want the government to fund better alternative approaches, so they are reliable and viable option for people who want to try something else than the medical model treatment.
To explore alternative options out there, Greta invites me to join in an afternoon activity with members of Hjúkrafl. Cold immersion therapy, a popular Icelandic pastime.
Begin. Out.
But before we take the plunge, one member, Carl Carlson, leads us in some breathwork.
15, faster. 5. Deep. Deep. Last final inhale. Keep our eyes closed. Notice that we're not cold anymore. Breathe in. And let's be louder than the chopper. Yeah!
Is the trick just run straight in, or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Take control of the water. Okay?
I feel like I'm encased in a glacier.
That was bone chilling.
What happens if you actually breathe now and notice how warm the freezing air is compared to the ocean, right? Woo, that was 2 minutes.
Felt like a lifetime.
Back in the warm embrace of a geothermal pool, we have a debrief.
So, I'm just wondering, what was in your mind when you were in the ocean? Like, were you thinking about your bills?
No, you're very much in the moment, feeling the full sensation of your body.
Was there a point where you wanted to get out of the cold straight away, like everyone else, or?
Kind of like after 2 seconds, but like once you're in the moment, you kind of forget that fear. I didn't really expect that.
Greta says this experience is more than just a quick dip.
How has sea bathing helped you?
Definitely helped me reduce my anxiety. I started doing it 2016-17 when I was just overwhelmed with stress. As soon as I hit the cold water, everything was quiet. Everything was quiet, and when I came up and I regenerated my heat, it was like a start over again. You know, start over again with my nervous system.
It's like a drug.
Yeah, you feel euphoria after it. And we just had a dip.
I don't think anyone we've met is completely against the use of antidepressants in Iceland. They simply want a system that is more accessible and perhaps offers more than simply prescribing a pill as medication.
Back at Nina's house, she's trying out a new look on one of her friends. It's no typical makeover. Nina now works on film and theatre productions as a special effects makeup artist.
So what is your dream?
I'm living it. I'm in a really good place. I can actually honestly say, and I don't know, a few years ago, 2 years ago, I couldn't have imagined it, being in this place. Like, no way.
And what draws you to this style of makeup?
The messiness of it. It's the simple answer, really. I'm not good with the fine lines. I'm not good with like everything needs to be perfect. So I love doing messy work.
Maybe it's also because you allow yourself to be messy and not perfect.
Yeah, that's a good answer, actually. I allow myself to be messy and not perfect, because no one can be perfect.
By embracing imperfection, Nina has learnt to let go of her worries and focus on the present.
I was always thinking of what happens next.
Love it.
And it was usually with anxiety. Like, I was scared of the future and I was depressed about the past. So after working out the past, I'm seeing that I cannot be dwelling in what may or may not happen. Just enjoy the now.
I hope you enjoyed that episode of Mindset. I'm in Denmark now working on another story for the series. As you saw, many people in Iceland rely on antidepressants for their mental health. But did you catch our program in Argentina where they prefer therapy? It's a country with more psychologists per capita than anywhere else. We're interested to hear how you or your country deal with psychological challenges too. So if you think there's a story in your area, please leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.